Hi, Steve Norton, anxiety specialist here. So I've been asked today to put a little video on about teenage mental health. I know that's a massive thing at the moment because all the kids are off, they're literally sitting at home, looking at little screens, and they're becoming more and more addicted to those things. The problem what you've got is that the more time that you spend looking at those tiny screens, whether it be the phones, tablets, or even games consoles, the more they are going to become more and more depressed, more and more into that world. And the moment you say to them, look, turn it off, you're going to create an anxiety spike with them. There's something that we now know what we call digital heroine. That means when you're using a lot of social media, when you're using online stuff all the time, when you stop using it, there's almost like a withdrawal symptom, almost like a panic to it. Basically, it is an addiction. So the problem what your kids are doing, obviously I know they're doing their online stuff and their online lessons and stuff, and they've got to do that. But they are spending, some of them, 12, 13, 14 hours a day on the internet. And let's face it, 90% of stuff on social media is either negative or it is frustrating, bad input for your brain. So if that's what you're listening to all day, if that's what you're inputting every day, you're literally inputting anxiety. Your anxiety is going to go through the roof. Your depression is. The problem is that when you take it away from them, like a heroin addict, they're going to feel that craving for it. So you've got a couple of choices. If you just let your child make that decision that they're going to stay online, you're giving that decision to someone with an immature brain, with someone who doesn't know how to organize their brain like an adult would. So they will pretty much always make the wrong decisions. They will always make the wrong choices. And the only way really to help your child's mental health through this is to do the tough stuff, which is limit the amount of time that they can spend on the internet. You've got to get them out of that bed. I mean, more and more I'm hearing about people staying up, especially teenagers, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, watching the sunrise. Then all day the next day, they're just lying in bed. They can't study right. They're not doing the lessons right. They're not taking anything in. But if you just let them do it, if you just allow them to make that decision, they are always going to make that wrong decision. You as a parent have to take control of that. You've got to make the tough choices. You've got to get those kids out of bed. You've got to get them outdoors. I know the government says you can't do this, can't do that, but you've got to get them out every day walking. You've got to get people to have some fresh air, because the more they're staying in their rooms, living in this virtual reality world, the worse your kids are going to get. The more depressed and the more addicted that they are going to become to those devices. So even though they are going to protest, you have to set some guidelines with the usage of these things, phones, tablets, Xboxes, whatever it is. You've got to set some uses on it, because I'm hearing some horrendous stories about people spending 14 hours a day on the internet, literally getting up, plugging themselves straight in. So you've got to make those tough choices. It's not going to make you popular, but being a parent isn't about being popular, is it? It's about bringing them up the way that you think is right. So if you really want to value your child's mental health, you've got to take control of social media. You've got to set the guidelines, because you can't leave it up to them. They will always make their own choices. So I hope that makes sense. You've got to get them out. You've got to get them out of the house. You've got to get them exercising, eating the right foods. It's so important. People don't realize how important that is. The right foods. Food controls the serotonin in our brain. 75% of the serotonin that is manufactured in the body comes from what we eat. So if your teenagers are sat eating biscuits and pizzas at like silly daft times and stuff, there's nothing in the body that's going to create serotonin. So you're creating more and more depression, plus the addiction of social media. So it sounds a bit gloomy, that, but it doesn't have to be. Just do the right things, take the right choices, make the tough choices. So I hope that helps, and I'll see you again for another video. Bye for now.